Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 8th of April and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, let's start with the video. In today's video, we are going to discuss entire analysis of newspaper along with the articles and background. And I would like to tell you that you can download the explainer notes of this session from our Telegram channel. Link for the channel is given in description box in YouTube. Now, starting up, first of all, guys, here we can see the front page of the Hindu newspaper. First article talks about center tells state to do more COVID tests. So, guys, we have seen that recently there is a spike in the COVID-19 cases. So, nearly there were earlier 570 cases or something coming 3 weeks ago, but now it has increased to 4,000 cases. So, more testing should be done. Now, however, for examination, much important substance is not there in this article. Tamil Nadu accords sanction for graft case probe against Palani Swami. Not important article for your examination. Fine. Then, guys, further moving on in this particular direction, Ukrainian minister to visit Delhi next week for talks, likely to invite PM Modi to visit Kiev. So, in the context of this Russia-Ukraine war, Ukraine wants now the support of India. Okay, and in this direction, this visit will be scheduled. Then further moving on, guys, after that, police burst call center. Now we have here the regional section, city section, and in the city section largely the regional news, advertisements and all such kind of things have been given. Not very much important for the examination. So guys, directly we'll be moving and we'll reach to editorial page. Now on editorial page, the first article, the Trump indictment polarized America. Okay, so guys, this article talks about the criminal charges that have been pressed against Donald Trump. So briefly, we will see this article, what it is talking about. Some advice to India on the IFA negotiations. We'll see this particular article also for the exam. Then guys, here, science for all. So the article talks about the approval that Union Cabinet has given to the LIGO India. We'll take this article. Then pause and effect. So guys, the article talks about the recent monetary policy committee which kept the repo rate unchanged. Okay, it kept the repo rate at unchanged. Fine. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that inflation is increasing and it was expected that the repo rate will be increased, because when there is high inflation, the repo rate is increased so that the inflation comes down. But that did not happen. The repo rate did not got increased. Why? Because right now we don't want to compromise growth. Fine. So this is something that has been there. So only that thing is given. Much substance is not there in the article. Okay. Then further moving on, the ground zero report, the women boxers of Haryana's Little Cuba. Okay. Then after that, guys, here we have largely the political articles. Okay, there's one article, withdraw draconian amendment IT rules. We'll see this, what is the article is talking about. House panel apprised on collusive threat from China and Pakistan. So guys, it has been provided that China has grown from having 250 warships to 350 in just a decade. Moreover, guys, we see this particular thing, that the China and Pakistan are creating a kind of a nexus, and this particular nexus can be used against India. Okay, then further moving on, guys, here common medical devices face risk of malware attack. We'll see this article. Database on 10,000 genomes to be ready for research. We'll see this article also. Mission to map rural India's cultural assets covering over 1 lakh villages. A very good article. We'll see this one also. If efforts on to get satellite radio caller for Aricompum before translocation. So guys, Aricompum is this elephant whose translocation is being talked about. Then further moving on, after that, world page, largely the law and order evolution details, 2 dead on the West Bank attack, and fine, all these things have been given. Then further moving on, here we have one article, drug maker get more time to join track and trace system. So what is this track and trace system? We'll see that. After that, guys, the corporate trends etc., not very much important. And then we have the sports page. So this is the overview of entire newspaper, and now let's see the relevant articles for all the relevant articles that we have seen here for our exam one by one in detail. Starting up. So guys, in every class we start with a GS quotation, and this quotation can be used to complement your answers in GS paper number 1, 2, 3 and 4. So today we'll take the quote from the French philosopher Montesquieu. He says that the tyranny of a prince in an oligarchy is not so much dangerous to the public welfare as the apathy of citizen in a democracy. Okay, so if there is a prince who commits a lot of tyranny, that is not as much dangerous as the citizens who don't speak for these issues. Those citizens are so much dangerous. So citizens apathy, citizens indifference, citizens sense of not showing a concern is more problematic to a society. And in democracy it is even more problematic, because in democracy the people plays an important role in appointing a government, and people, if they don't have much opinion, if they don't have any kind of views, if they are apathetic against the government, then it is going to be a very big problem. We can use this particular idea in GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 4, political ethics. Fine, now let's take the first article. Okay, so the first article, guys, first of all, what the article reads, it says mission to map rural India's cultural assets, cover over 1 lakh villages. Now we'll see this particular article for the prelims examination. Okay, the question can be asked on this scheme. Then secondly, this article can also be seen with respect to the GS paper number 1 culture. Now let's see what the article is actually talking about. So basically, guys, now what government has come out with, just a minute. So basically, government has come out with this scheme by the name of Mera Gaon Meri Dharohar, and the name of or you can also call this scheme as My Village My Heritage. So this is a new scheme that government has come out with, and in this particular scheme, what will be done? There will be the cultural mapping of the villages will be done. Now, what do we understand by this particular cultural mapping? Now, guys, see this particular thing, that in our country, there are so many of the villages which have some historically important places, some has ecological important places, some are important from the point of view of development, some are important from the point of view of history, mythology. For example, guys, Rakhigadi, which was a village in Haryana, it came to become the biggest Harappan site in Indian subcontinent. So this village becomes important. So likewise, there are so many of the villages which have cultural assets. There are villages which have such kind of historical, ecological importance. So these villages will be mapped under a kind of a directory. So why we are bringing this mission? To harness the unique cultural heritage of rural India and to identify and to document distinctive features of more than 1 lakh villages across the country. Now, this cultural asset mapping will be done, and villages will be divided in 7 or 8 categories. For example, whether they are important ecologically, developmentally, scholastically, if they have some any famous textile, or if there is some famous product which is being made in that village, or if it has a historical significance, mythological significance. For example, there are the villages which are associated with Ramayana, Mahabharata. Okay, so villages in under these categories will be categorized. Now, if we take the example that how the villages will be categorized, some examples we have. For example, when we talk about the Bishnoi village near Jodhpur in Rajasthan. Now, this village is very important case study as how to live in with the harmony with the nature. So they preserve the khejri tree, they preserve the black buck. So very harmoniously they have lived with the nature. So from ecological point of view, this village is important. Then there is Uttarakhand's Raini village, which was a place from where the Chipko movement got started. So this is also an ecologically important village. Then we have Modhera village in Gujarat. Now the Modhera became the first solar powered village in India. So from development point of view, this is an important village. Then Suketi in Himachal Pradesh, having Asia's oldest fossils. It is a fossil park. Okay. Then in such a way, we have the villages across the country. Some are the birthplace of legendary poets, scholars, etc. So they will be mapped. Okay, and this exercise will be called as Mera Gaon Meri Dharohar. Okay, so the database will be prepared. Now the field studies will be conducted jointly by the Ministry of Culture and the Common Service Center. Common Service Center is under the Ministry of Electronics and IT. All the 6.5 lakh villages in India will be mapped, and important villages will be classified here under Mera Gaon Meri Dharohar. So this is all about this particular scheme. I hope, guys, that you have understood it, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Okay. Now moving to the next article. Science for all. Now we'll see this particular article for GS paper number 3 Science and Technology. As well as for the prelims examination, we'll see this particular article as what it is talking about. Okay, now, so basically, guys, what has happened just recently, Union Cabinet has given approval for establishing the LIGO observatory in India. Okay, now this proposal was in the pipeline for so many of the years. Okay, from so many of the years it was there, but now finally the approval has been given by cabinet. Now let's take what it is talking about. Let's understand what is this LIGO first of all. So guys, LIGO stands for laser informator laser interferometer gravitational wave observatory. Okay, now what is this all about? Guys, understand this particular thing, that somewhere away in our galaxy, okay, there are the black holes that are colliding with each other. Okay, there are black holes that are colliding with each other. Okay, there are extraterrestrial bodies that are colliding with each other. Okay, now guys, what can be done? Basically, their collision, whenever it happens, it creates the massive waves. It creates the massive waves. Let me give you one example. Suppose this is a pond, a water pond, and I throw a stone in the middle of the pond. So here there is, let's say, an impact that happened in the middle of pond. Then but what will happen? The ripples will be created throughout the pond. Ripples will be created throughout the pond. In such a way, when the massive celestial bodies in the universe, such as the black holes, they collide with each other. Okay, when the stars collide with each other, what happened? There are the gravitational waves that are scattered throughout the universe. So we want to track these gravitational waves. Now guys, understand this particular thing. There are certain objects that collided millions and millions of years back, but they were so much away, they were so much distant, that now we are receiving the gravitational waves. Now they are coming towards the earth. So we want to track them, and they will help us to better understand the evolution of universe. It will better able to understand us the developments that are going on into the far universe. So for tracking that, we want to establish these LIGO observatories. Okay, LIGO observatories. Now what these observatories will do, they will be the large scale physics experiment designed to detect the gravitational waves which creates ripples in the fabric of space and time. Now when we talk about LIGO observatories, right now there are the two LIGO observatories, both are in the USA. Okay, there are two LIGO observatories. One is in Livingston, Louisiana, and other is in Hanford, Washington. Both are in USA. Now, what are these observatories? So basically, there are two arms. Okay, 4 kilometer each. There are the two arms, 4 kilometer each. Okay, so guys, actually, it is provided that whenever the gravitational waves. Now, see, these gravitational waves are very feeble. They are very weak. We can never observe us. Even very sophisticated devices cannot observe us. So this LIGO observatory is made. So there are two arms in the shape of an L, and when the gravitational wave will pass from it, so it is said that there is a tiny stretch in the space that happens. So it says that whenever a gravitational wave passes through the observatory, it causes a tiny stretching and squeezing of the space. So space will be stretched and squeezed. Now this change is not that big that our eyes can detect it. That is very small. It can be as small as 10 thousandths of the diameter of a proton. Okay, now these observatories, LIGO observatories, can detect that squeezing and spreading of that space, and by that particular thing they can detect that the gravitational wave have passed, and then its origin, etc., can be mapped through the mathematical calculations. So these are the two observatories that are there in the USA. Now the third observatory like this, LIGO, will be established in Maharashtra, Hingoli, and Union Cabinet has approved this particular project. So this is going to be the third LIGO observatory this is going to be a third in the world and the first outside the USA that will be developed. Okay, so this is the part of LIGO India collaboration in order to improve the detector's collective ability to pinpoint sources of gravitational waves in the sky. Now this particular thing opens up two opportunities for India. Opportunity number one, India can actually become a global site for gravitational physics research. We can become a global site. We will become the world leaders in this particular direction, and we will also show our capability in handling precision technologies, in handling sophisticated control systems, sophisticated technologies. Okay, so it will cement the reputation of India, that India can also run the big science projects. So Large Hadron Collider, LIGO, okay, neutrino observatory. These are the big science projects. India will also get a distinction that yes, we are also having one. Secondly, guys, it can also demonstrate that India can synchronize very intelligently between India society's relationship with the science. Society and science can be very carefully be synchronized. Now, guys, understand this particular thing. Often we have seen this thing that many of the science-backed projects have faced protest in India. For example, when we talk about that for carbon sequestration targets, let's say we need land just for just a transition. Fine, we need land. What is just a transition? We want to transit from the coal based, carbon based energy systems to the renewable energy systems. Okay, so we want to deploy solar panels, we want to deploy windmills, we need land for that. Okay, for carbon sequestration we need land so that we can plant more trees. Okay, for developmental projects, okay, many places encroachment is going on. Okay, many places are environmentally important, we want to preserve them. So whenever any such science backed project comes, there is a lot of protest that happens here. Now in Hingoli, as this particular project is to be built, it will need a lot of land, and if we successfully executed it, India will be able to show that India as a society is also acceptable to the science backed projects. They don't always oppose it, they don't always go against it. Okay, so their need for large tracts always have implications for the land use change, and there is contested rights. Okay, but if now many number of times it is also said that it is a kind of a new colonialism. Okay, that you are taking our ancestral land. Why? Because you just have some fancy reasons. It is a colonialism, but therefore there is a protest. Okay, so if we did it, then India's prowess will be proved. That is all about it. And now moving to the next article. Common medical devices face risk of malware attack. Okay, now guys, what this particular article is all about, see, we'll see this article for GS paper number 3 cybersecurity. GS paper number 3 cybersecurity. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that recently what has happened, there was a big attack that was made on the server of the AIMS, and as the server of the AIMS got hacked, a lot of medical data was taken from that, and it became a very big breach in the medical history. Okay, now understand this particular thing, that guys, today we are using lot of medical devices. For example, pulse oximeters are being used, fine, hearing aids are being used, glucometers are being used, pacemakers are being used in the heart. Okay, now these particular devices can be hacked. Why? Because many number of times these devices are linked with a mobile application. In that mobile application, your entire history etc is there. So what a person can do, the people can hack these mobile applications which are connected with a medical device, or they can directly hack these medical devices and can spy on you. They can steal your medical data, they can steal your medical history. It will have a lot of impact on the privacy. Fine. Now, so we have seen that already ransomware attacks have happened on the top tertiary care hospitals. Now, what is a ransomware attack? Ransomware attack is a type of a cyber attack in which the hacker will access your system, will lock you out of your system, and will demand money. That if you want access of your system, you need to give us money. Only then your access will be restored back. So this is a ransomware attack that has happened on some of the hospitals, including the AIMS. Now it is being said that it's not that only these hospitals are vulnerable to such hacking attacks, but today what is happening, we are using medical devices. Many medical technologies contain software as medical device and software in medical device. Software as medical device and software in medical device. Let's take one example. Today you are wearing the smart watches. Now in these smart watches, now the smart watch is a kind of a medical device within which there are many medical softwares which are tracking your blood pressure, they are tracking your heart rate, they are tracking your dissolved blood oxygen level, and many other parameters of your body are being recorded by them. Now what can be done? Their softwares, these devices can be hacked. Okay, so now why these? Because your digital watch is linked with the internet with your mobile phone. Okay, the data is there on the cloud, so they can be compromised. So therefore it is being said that now we need to come out with the robust cyber security norms, not only for the computers and all such kind of things, but even for these medical devices we need to come out with the norms. Okay, moreover it is also being said that we also need to have the standards for the data governance. Okay, how these data are to be stored, how these data are to be protected, we need to have some standards for that. Now it is being provided by the WHO that data protection is not rocket science, but it requires a legal and technical artisanship, allocation of resources, training, so that the healthcare professionals, so that the companies making these products can keep that particular data secure. It's not a rocket science. It needs collaboration. It needs legal and technical assistance and all such kind of things. Okay, so this is said by the World Health Organization. So guys, this is an important dimension that now the cyber security is not only a concern for your financial systems, it is not only your concerns for your computers, but even these medical devices, they can be breached by it. So a very good dimension can be used in GS paper number 3, cyber security. Now moving to the next article. Drug makers get more time to join track and trace system for exports. Drug makers get more time to join track and trace system. Now we'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 3, pharmaceutical industry. Okay, now guys, see this thing that India happens to be the world's largest drug manufacturing nation, and we are also called as the pharmacy to the world. Now this is a good thing, but at the same time in India we see that there are a lot of fake medicines, counterfeit medicines that are also flooding the market, and these counterfeit fake medicines often are of substandard quality, and then the health, article number 21, right to life and health, got compromised. Recently guys, we have seen many such kind of incidents that have happened. Now to resolve that particular problem guys, the government is proposing this track and trace system. Now first of all, if I tell you guys, see, this article doesn't contain much of substance that what is this track and trace system. I have given it here in this particular handout, so please download it, because this information is not given in the article as such. Article is just talking about this, that the time has been extended. So earlier this track and trace system is to be achieved till 31st March. Now this deadline has been extended. Just that's it. Now let's understand what is this system all about. Now guys, see this thing, it is being said that there needs to be a kind of a digital trace of the medicine. For example, let's say there is a company by the name of ABC Pharmaceuticals, and they are making the paracetamol tablets. Okay, now let's say one strip of paracetamol tablet contains 10 tablets. Then they will be packed in the boxes. Then these boxes will be packed in other kind of big containers or something like that. So basically it is being said that they needs to be fixed with a barcode kind of a thing. If we scan that particular barcode, we get an entire history of this particular tablet or this particular medicine or this particular syrup. For example, which date it was manufactured, at which place, then after that it traveled to which other place. Okay, fine. Then what has happened with respect to the movement. Now why we need to have this particular thing, guys? Understand, there are certain medicines which are to be stored at a particular temperature. If that temperature goes down, then that drug will be spoiled. So in this particular information, that thing will also be stored, that whether the drug was transported from a cold, from the freezer vehicle or not, what temperature it was stored at what time, what point of time, was there any point when the temperature went down, if yes, then for how much time. So all the information about the drug etc will be contained, fine, in these barcodes. Fine. Now understand this particular thing. It will help us, number one, to understand that whether the drug was properly handled, was properly stored or not, number one. Number two, by this tracing the origin, we can also know about the authenticity of the drugs. that whether the drugs are authentic, whether they are made genuinely by the manufacturer or they are any fake drug. Because if it is a fake drug, then there will be no such track of that particular drug. So what is this track and trace system? So it is the system for the pharmaceutical sector that allows the tracing of drugs throughout the supply chain, from manufacturer to wholesaler, from wholesaler to retailer, fine, from the manufacturer to the end user. And data is important to ensure the safety and authenticity of the drugs. Now what the system will be using? The system will have unique identifiers. There will be the serial numbers from which information can be taken. There can be barcodes, there can be the RFID, radio frequency identification, fine, which will be attached to the unit of medications. This is something that is being done. Now Indian government is proposing this system since 2015. Okay, Central Drug Standard Control Organization electronic platform. This system is CDSCU electronic platform. Now the deadline that was given to them was of 31st March, but now basically it has been said by the drug manufacturers that we need more time, so this deadline has been extended, fine, up to 1/8/2023. But you don't need to go and remember too much of this timeline which has been extended. This is all about this particular article, guys. I hope that you have understood it. Now we'll move to the next article. Database on 10,000 genomes to be ready for research access. Okay, now again guys, the article doesn't contains background, but first we need to know background, and after that background we will be understanding that what this article is talking about. We'll see this particular article for our prelims examination, science and technology, prelims examination, science and technology. Even in GS paper number 3, science and technology, we can see it. And this data can also be important for the health sector, the initiatives that we have taken. Now, before going in the article, let's understand some background information. So basically guys, Government of India is running Genome India project. Now what is this Genome India project? First of all, what do we mean by genome? So genome is complete DNA profile. It is a complete DNA profile of a person. Now guys, what is the DNA? Okay, so basically guys, DNA is a code. Fine, DNA is a code. Now understand this particular thing, that you have a particular texture of hairs, you have a particular tone of your skin, you have a particular other physical features that you have. All now understand this particular thing, that suppose if I cut all my hairs, the next hairs will also be like this. Fine, why? Because what color my skin tone will be, what my hairs will look like, what I will look like, all this information is contained in my DNA. Okay, so that this complete DNA profile is called as a genome. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that Government of India is running this Genome India project. Now this project aims to sequence the genomes of at least 10,000 individuals which are representing the diverse population of India. Now understand this thing, guys. Indian population is around 1.3 billion people, but this 1.3 billion people is divided into 4,600 population groups. Okay, 1.3 billion people can be divided into 4,600 population group. Okay, so basically guys, we need to track 10,000 people from this 4,600 population groups, and we need to have a digital information about their complete DNA profile. Why it is important? Because guys, understand, sometimes many of the diseases, see, our DNA is responsible. Sometimes we have a natural immunity for some disease, but sometimes we become susceptible to some disease again because of our DNA. So it will help to know more about the genetic database of Indian population, and when we will be able to know about the genetic database of Indian population, we can know better that what diseases they have better immunity, what diseases they are more susceptible to. Okay, we can understand the genetic variations. On that particular variations, the relationship with the disease, immunity, etc. can be understood. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about India, in India, endogamy is something which is followed a lot. Endogamy means marrying within a close social group. Now intercaste marriages are not allowed. Fine, within caste marriages do happen. So because of that particular thing, what has happened, because of this endogamous nature, there are many disease causing mutations that have happened. Okay, so basically we need to have the genetic information so better medicines can be prepared, so better we can predict that what type of disease our population be more vulnerable to. So this is something that has been done. Moreover, by creating this digital database, researchers, doctors, and at any place can know better about the Indian population. Okay, so this is the Genome India project where 10,000 Indian genomes are to be prepared. Up till now 7,000 have been done, so the article says that it is halfway mark. Okay, so database on 10,000 genomes to be ready for research. Up till now 7,000 of them have been sequenced. Okay, so guys, there are 20 institutions, there are across 20 institutions who are involved in this particular process. Fine, but the coordination is being done by the Center for Brain Research, IISc Bangalore. Okay, so this is about it. Now moving to next article. Some advice to India on the IFA negotiations. Now this article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3, International Trade Cooperation. Now first of all guys, telling you one thing, you are not required to go too much in detail in this particular article. Okay, because the article is going too much into the technical and legal aspects. Now we'll understand some of the concepts. So basically guys, right now there is this investment facilitation agreement that is being negotiated, that is being backed at the global level, and more than 100 countries are backing this investment facilitation agreement. Number one, India is not a party. India is not pushing this investment facilitation agreement. Now what is this agreement? So it aims to create legally binding provisions at facilitating investment flows. Now see this particular thing, guys. Many number of times there are the FDAs that are coming in our country. Okay, foreign investors are coming in our countries. FDI is coming, sorry, and foreign investors are coming in our country. So they need the protection that they will not be discriminated. They need a protection that whatever terms we agreed to them, those terms will not be arbitrarily revised. Okay, so those investments need protection. Okay, and to give protection to these investment, this investment facilitation agreement is being negotiated. Now it is being said that if investor will be confident, fine, that his rights will not be compromised, then that investor will be more willing to come with the investment. Ease of doing business of the countries will be improved. Okay, this is something that is there. Now guys, understand this particular thing. It is being said that this investment facilitation agreement is going to be different from the bilateral investment treaties. Now what is bilateral investment treaties? Bilateral investment treaty is a treaty between two countries under which the basic rules governing the investment flowing between them is to be governed. For example, let's suppose there is a bilateral investment treaty between A country and B country. So what are the rules that will apply for investment from A country to B country to A country? What protections they have? If there is any dispute, what they need to do in that type of dispute? Okay, within these bilateral investment treaty, there is also the provision of the investor state dispute settlement, ISDS. There is a provision of the investor state dispute settlement. Now what is this system? Under this system, an investor has a right that he can approach international tribunal to resolve the investment cases. If there is a dispute has come, they can approach. Now what is happening, guys? India is not joining this IFA negotiations. Okay, why we are not joining this investment facilitation agreement? Because it is being said that foreign investors could use this IFA to bring claims under the existing BITs. Now see this thing, guys, we have BITs, bilateral investment treaties, with many countries, and under bilateral investment treaty we specifically have proposed a provision that before first going to ISDS, before first going to the international tribunal, if there is a dispute, first you need to take that particular matter into the Indian judicial courts. Okay, this is a safeguard that we already have. But it is being said that if we join the IFA, what will happen? Even in model BITs, which are the already BITs that we have signed, the investors, it is being said that under the existing BITs, they will also be covered under IFA. Okay, existing BITs will also covered under IFA. The partners or the investors, they will ask more and more benefit. For example, let me give you an example. There is most favored nation clause. Now what is this most favored nation treatment? Now basically it requires the members to accord the most favorable tariff and most better treatment. Fine. For example, we have given the MFN status earlier to Pakistan. It means that whatever benefit we are giving to the other countries, the same benefit has to be given to Pakistan. There cannot be any discriminatory tariff for the Pakistan. So under most favored nation, a kind of a favorable treatment is given, and it is being said that the moment the IFA will be signed by India, the foreign investors, okay, or the foreign trade partners, they will also ask the MFN like treatment. But the author is saying that this is your wrong presumption. It is not that will happen. It is being said that if a foreign investors bring such claims, okay, then the ISDS arbitration. Now see, if a foreign investors want all these particular things, fine, India will not give, then this matter will go to the ISDS arbitration tribunal, and that tribunal will not be taking the case of these particular investors, because BIT's bilateral investment treaty, they are exempt. BIT treaty exempt an economic integration agreement from the application of an MFN. Okay, it is being said that basically they cannot say that these benefits are directly to be given to them. Moreover, the ISDS tribunal will also not accept these things, fine, as a breach of investors' expectation, as a breach of agreement. ISDS tribunal will not accept it. It is a logical thing. So the article is just talking about this particular thing, that India should not be apprehensive. India should accept it. Okay. Now, the Trump indictment polarized America. Now guys, what has happened recent? Now you are not required to go too much in detail, because the article is talking about these internal political issues, the cases that have been filed, the charges that have been pressed against Donald Trump, and all such things. So guys, what has happened recently? There are the criminal accusations that have been made against Donald Trump. It has been said that the Donald Trump has falsified the business records. Okay, why? Because guys, in 2016, when Donald Trump won the election, it was said that he won the election by doing a lot of unethical practices. He created psychological profiles of the people. He paid a lot of money to these social media companies to influence the people. Okay, now these records don't come so out. So what he has done, he has falsified his business records. Okay, all this particular thing is going on. So now the criminal charges have been pressed against Donald Trump. Now the article is talking about many such number of cases, not very much important for the examination. Now the article is saying this particular thing, that we see this thing, that now the America is becoming more concerned in its internal issues. So now the America's retreat from unipolar status have happened, and now they are taking on to the Trump Biden administration. For example, talk about enacting 1.9 trillion stimulus package to bring down the joblessness rate to 3.6%. So joblessness increased to 14.7% in 2020. They want to bring it down. So for that, the fiscal stimulus have been given. Okay. Then they are also basically they are giving focus on their internal economy and all such kind of things. So focus within the internal issues of America have come down. So this is just the guys message given in this entire article. What other things are there? Other things guys are just the unnecessarily legal details pertaining to the USA that is there, which is not important for our examination. Okay. Now moving to the next. Withdraw draconian amendment to IT rules, says editor guild. Now guys, if you remember, we are seeing this particular articles from the past few days, that what has actually happened, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology MeitY had come out with an amendment to IT rules. So IT rules 2023 amendment has been brought, and as per this particular amendment, PIB, Press Information Bureau, has been empowered. That Press Information Bureau will be the fact-checking agency of India. Okay, if any news has been called as a fake news by the PIB, then that news has to be removed by the social media platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, all of them. They have to remove Twitter, etc. They have to remove that information. Now it is being said that by the editor guilds, which is an organization of the editors, they say it is a draconian law. By this, government wants to change the narrative as what is true and what is not false. It is being said that PIB will become the sole arbiter of truth. Now, in these rules, there is no mention that what is the governing mechanism for such fact-checking unit, who will be the members, on what basis the information will be fact-checked, will there be the judicial oversight. Now, understand this thing now, that suppose there is a suppose there is a statement that has been made against the ruling government. Now, it is not suiting the interest of the ruling government. There can be a possibility that that news could be condemned as fake. So, what you are doing, that such misuse doesn't happen. Okay, will there be judicial oversight? Will there be the right to appeal? Okay, will there be adherence to the guidelines laid by the Supreme Court in Shreya Singhal case? Okay, Shreya Singhal case, guys, specifically talked about that every information cannot be taken down from internet. Freedom of speech and expression is important. So whether those Shreya Singhal guidelines will be followed or not, will there be judicial oversight or not, governance council, misuse will happen, all these things are needed to be defined, but up till now it has not been defined. So it is a kind of a draconian law that has been brought. This is the criticism that has come. Okay, so guys, directly these criticisms you can note down in your notebook. And now, taking the mains practice question for today. So mains practice question, it says, industry data shows that 2022 has been the worst year so far for India when it comes to cyber attacks, a problem that has only grown with increasing digitalization. In this context, discuss the measures taken by India to ensure cyber security. Okay, so this is, guys, all about this. Fine, and this will be a GS paper number 3 10 marker question. Guys, I hope that you have understood it. And guys, we are doing a lot of hard work to ensure that most accurate and most precise exam oriented information should be given to you in every session. Okay, and for that thing we are doing a lot of hard work. And if you like the video, please do hit the like button, please do subscribe to the channel, please do share our video, and please do leave your lovely comments as you do always. Now we'll be meeting on Monday, guys. Till then, please take care of yourselves. So now the next class will be on Monday. Please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.